in YouTube?
Patrick Murray here.
Richard Lima here.
I'm actually looking for the people that are there in the audience, you guys. Thanks, though. Just want to make sure the public is all dialed in, anybody who wants to listen in and participate.
We are live on Zoom. I'm sorry, YouTube.
So we're good to go?
We are ready to go. I haven't
Okay.
seen the TM though, just so you know. He popped in, then popped out, so.
Let me know when he's back in. That would be great.
Okay.
Town manager has joined in.
Oh, there he is.
Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the Narragansett Town Council Special Meeting Public Hearing, July 27th to order. We start with a Pledge of Allegiance. Please everyone stand. Pledge my allegiance to the flag
Bye.
The
of the
United
United
States
States of America and to the
The
republic
Republic,
for
which it stands,
one nation,
under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible,
And
with
justice.
liberty and justice.
justice for all.
Amen.
So this is a public hearing. So I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing to the following, a motion to open
Come here, get out of here.
the application of Monahan's Restaurant, doing business as Monahan's Clam Shack, Matthew Combs, president, for a new Class B victualler license limited to alcohol beverages, license at Assessor's Plot E, Lot 150, 190 Ocean Road, Narragansett, Rhode Island. Would someone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Someone like to second it, please?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Lima, seconded by Mr. Pugh. Is there anyone on behalf of the applicant here who'd like to speak? Anyone, Dan?
Yep, we have one currently, MJL.
Welcome, MJL. Will you please state your name and address?
Hi, good afternoon, Council. My name is Attorney Matthew Landry. I'm the attorney for Monahan's. My client, Matt Combs, who is also the applicant for Monahan's, I believe is also on the Zoom meeting as well.
Okay, would you like to speak first? And then if your client would like to speak, we can have him sworn into the record.
Yeah, absolutely. So as everyone knows, Monahan's has been going through this process for some time. I think it started back in 2014 with the zone change, and it wasn't until this June that my client received full zoning approval from the board for a special use permit for the sale of beer and wine. So we're bringing this application to the council for the liquor license limited to just beer and wine. My client, Matt Combs, is the proprietor of Monahan's. He owns it with his two siblings. They all work on the premises regularly. They are all Narragansett residents. My client, Mr. Combs, Matt Combs, will be responsible for the day-to-day holding the license. He's there every day. It's his full-time job, and he's responsible for the insurance and the day-to-day operations, as well as the siblings. All the paperwork that was required to be submitted has been submitted. I'm sorry.
Just give me a minute. Give me 10 minutes.
All the supplemental materials that were required have been filed. There was a site plan that was filed. The abutters notification went out. I filed the certificate of service. And I believe everything else is in order. The insurance rider was waiting for, if there was an approval by this council, that will be faxed over immediately to the council's office. I think that was the only item that was remaining, but the broker has been contacted, and that is in line as well. I'm happy to answer any additional questions that the council might have, or my client obviously is available too to answer any questions.
Sure. Why don't we have Mr. Combs get sworn in? He can testify, and then the council may ask questions of both of you.
Certainly.
Mr. Combs? Mr. Combs, will you please state your name and address and be sworn in by Mr. Davis?
Yes, it's Matthew Combs. I live at 82 Robinson Street.
Thank you.
Would you please raise your right hand?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Please proceed.
So would you like me to kind of go through what we were thinking, or did you guys want to ask me questions? I'm not, whatever's easiest for you guys.
Mr. Combs, why don't you just, whatever you're thinking, and then the council, we can come back and ask both you and your attorney any questions as follow-up. That would be great.
Great. All right. Well, we're really excited for this opportunity. Obviously, like Matt said, we've been trying to do this since 2014. We've already begun the process of putting in the barriers down at Monahan's. We're just waiting on the tempered glass to come in. And, essentially we already, I think 12 to 14 employees have been certified, tip certified, including myself and some of my other family members. The way that we're thinking this is going to work is we have these wireless handheld tablets. So basically, once the order is placed, your food order is placed, the customer will go sit at a table, and then a waitress will come up and see if the customer would like a beer or wine. And then they place the order through this tablet, and then it's shot back to a service bar, and then it's brought to the table with the people, with their food. So essentially that's how we're thinking that this would work the best for us. And we have signs that are going to say no alcohol beyond this point, and I think the barrier, it's going to be tempered glass, so I think it's it's going to curtail a lot of people trying to walk off the premises. Also, the waitress station will be in between the entrance and the exit, so we'll always have somebody available and watching. So yeah, that's kind of what we were thinking as far as service.
Thank you, Mr. Combs. Let's go to the council. We'll start with Mr. Lima. Do you have any questions for Mr. Combs or his attorney?
No, I think, through the previous 2 times that we had the opportunity to chat, I think Mr. Combs's attorney and himself were very on board with what we were looking for. The only question I have was anything in the restrictions on this? Were there any restrictions implemented on this particular license with a time of any sort? In other words, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., was anything on that basis? I think we chatted a little bit about it, but Matt, is there a time that you would be happy with?
We open at 11 a.m. and the
Okay.
latest we've ever open, stayed open till is 10 o'clock. So that's what we would be looking for.
Okay. So would a 10 o'clock on the license, would that be sufficient for you?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So if at some point in the record, if that could be put in there that 10 o'clock is sufficient, can we do that at this time?
So Rick, the planning board gave 4 conditions, and in those 4 conditions, there is currently not any timing, but when the council comes to vote on the matter, if you would like to make that suggestion, we could do that at that time.
Okay, I'm good.
All right, wonderful. Mr. Pugh.
Thanks, Jill. Sorry, I was just coming from mute. I do have a few questions for Mr. Combs. I know that this has been a long process and it's been approved through planning and zoning. So there's been a lot of conversation around this. And I know you kind of been very cooperative with those boards in terms of putting together a real comprehensive plan on how this is going to work. We, definitely received a few emails from some concerned residents, mostly around parking, a little bit around the idea that people are going to wander off with these drinks, through the neighborhoods or in their car. So I just want to go through a little bit with you so that the public is aware of how much work has been done to get this in order, and how much thought you guys have put into it. So I'll just ask you a couple of questions, and maybe if you can answer those, it might help to clear up, some of the confusion over it.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, great. So just the first thing, there's going to be no ordering of any alcoholic beverages at the window, correct?
Yes.
All right, great. So if anyone thinks that there's going to be beer ordered at the window to go, that's not happening because nothing's getting ordered at the window when it comes to alcohol. So you'd have to be sitting at a table. And you'd also have to, is it true that you would need to order food? So you couldn't just order a beer
No, yeah, it has to be served with food.
with food. Okay. So there's no scenario where you'd have people with a drink standing along the back area there, kind of milling around with a drink and no food.
Correct, no.
Okay, great. And then what's the capacity at the restaurant?
Matt, do you have the answer to that?
Yeah, I can jump in. There was some back and forth over what the occupancy was versus the table occupancy, and that was an issue that came up before both the planning and the zoning board. I have the number in front of me. I think it's exactly 96 seats. That was what was consistent with the old zoning approval and this approval, and the fire marshal had issued an updated occupancy number in a letter to the zoning board. I don't have it in front of me, but it confirms the occupancy as the amount of seats. Beyond that, what the fire occupancy is, I'm not sure offhand what the number is.
Okay. So the 96 though, does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay. And with this application for beer and wine, there's no request to increase the seating capacity, right? This is just the same capacity that you've had with the previous variance?
Yes, exactly. It's just to serve the existing customer base. So
Okay,
no
great.
expansion of seats, no.
Okay, so, because some of the concern is that, having alcohol at the restaurant is going to increase the overall crowd, in the restaurant, but it's really not possible because you have that capacity, seating limit. So I just want to make sure that that's addressed to ease these concerns if possible.
Yeah, Jesse, we're the kitchen's pretty much maxed out. So, I don't even think we can bring more people in, to be honest with you. So this is just strictly to serve the existing customer base.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, great. Yeah, that's all I had for questions. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Murray?
Yes, good afternoon. Yeah, Matt, sorry, I wasn't paying attention earlier. Was that Ricky?
Yeah, yeah.
That a 10 p.m. restriction on serving alcohol, or what was that 10 p.m.?
Yeah, just, people are concerned about, first off, as you know, Patrick, they're concerned about the general area, with traffic and safety and all that. But Matt tends to, by 9:30, I've gone by there and, they're already starting to wrap it up some nights because, again, like he says, you could give him a casino approval down there and he can only get so many people at that window, through the door, whatever. And it's not going to increase. It's not like another 500 or 1,000 people. So if he has a comfortable hour, I think it would help the surrounding neighborhood or whatever. I don't want to put handcuffs on him, but like I asked him, if he's comfortable with 10 and that seems to be something that could be implemented, fine. If down the road that needs to be lifted, and I'm still sitting here, I'm fine with it as well. If you want to make it 11 o'clock or not put one on at all, I'm fine with that. But I just think it answers a lot of questions that the public have. How late is he going to be serving,
Well,
beer and wine? It's only beer and wine, Patrick. I'm
correct.
not really that worried.
Correct. Yeah, my thinking is let the market dictate when he stays open.
That's fine.
My camp is give that business owner as much rope as they want, and if we have to pull them in, then we pull them in. But he's got 5 weeks left,
Oh, I
1.5
know.
weeks left, and if he's serving clam cakes to 11 or whatever, that's fine with me. There's not a lot of people
Right.
shucking down clam cakes at 11 o'clock at night. So I don't want to put any restrictions on him. This kid's been waiting for this for years, just because of his unique location. And I think he's been unjustly, not dealt with very fairly over the last few years. So I don't want to put any restrictions on him.
Okay. I'm not opposed to that.
Anything additional, Mr. Murray?
No. I'm good with this. I'm more than good with this.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Combs, the one question I do have for you, with the recent guidance for the COVID and the governor's orders allowing that restaurants be able to serve beverages to go, I do note in the restrictions from the zoning board that you state here, that they stated here that alcohol cannot leave the premises. I just wanted to ensure that that is still what you are looking to do, that alcohol can only be consumed at your restaurant and cannot be in any type to go, even though the governor has stated that we can, any restaurant can do that right now.
Absolutely. We're fine with that.
Okay, thank you. And we do have the chief on, and I also, as well as Mr. Pugh, I was concerned with some issues I brought forth about safety. So I thought it'd be a good idea to have the chief on and have the chief report in his view on safety. Have there been any issues?
Yeah, any problems with that establishment? I've been over there and spoke to Mr. Combs, and when he first opened up this year about the COVID restrictions, I found him to be a very conscientious owner. And most of the problems that we had there were early on when the seawall was shut down, and that was the only show in town, so to speak. So there was some congestion, and it's been better since then. So I don't have any objections. I agree with the analysis. I don't see that this is going to create a demand that's beyond what's already there. I know we do get complaints about people parking at the pier, go to his establishment, and people can't access the location. But I don't think this is something that's gonna, that's existing additions. I don't think this is something that's gonna make that worse.
Chief, have we had any types of issues with having safety vehicles go through? Well, we did receive a letter regarding that. Have you had any problems with safety vehicles being able to go down to access the pier?
We haven't had any problems, but it's always a concern with accessing that location when you have a lot of congestion. But I think that, that concern exists now.
Okay, thank you.
Well, going to his establishment, people who want to walk down the seawall or just be in the general area.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Before I ask for anyone else wishing to speak in favor, do any other members of the council wish to speak for a second time? Okay.
Nope.
Is there anyone out in the audience that would like to speak in favor of the applicant? Mr. Holland, let me know.
Currently, we have Dr. Alba.
Hello, Dr. Alba. Could you please state your name and address and then be sworn in by Mr. Davis?
Yes, Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett, Rhode Island.
Hi, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
Yes, so my dad for years had a location right across the street when Monahan's owned, I guess it's the grandfather, the relatives, and at 187 Ocean Road, beautiful place. We've known the family for years. Beautiful people. Clayton, he lives in Riverfront Estates. I mean, he's the quintessential neighbor. Beautiful family. Every time I frequented his location, beautiful setup, ambiance. We took my dad there. He was able to sit outside. They're such a wonderful family. They're so conscientious. I actually advocated for this many years ago, actually, when my cousin, who owns Iggy's Boardwalk, was putting forth his proposal to open up his place. This is how long this has been going on. And unfortunately, at that time, for whatever reason, it got denied, which, to me, this is so overdue. I agree with Representative Patrick Murray. This is, we really need to give this to them. Businesses are struggling. They only have a short window of opportunity to make any extra income. And we want to keep good businesses. We want to applaud them. They help area kids. They hire them out. So it's a win-win situation. So please approve this. And thank you so much for your consideration. It's a wonderful, like I said, it's a quintessential location, quintessential family, and it's the best thing we could do for this business. And I would say for this town too. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alba, and Patrick, congratulations on your promotion to representative. Is there anyone else waiting to speak?
Kristen.
Christian, can you welcome and please your name and address?
I'm Kristen Connell, 106 Central Street, Narragansett.
Will you please be sworn in, Mr. Davis?
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Jill. Dee and Matt Combs are our neighbors on the Robinson Street side. And I just really support this wholeheartedly. Dee and Matt, every summer, they hire local Narragansett kids, and they just treat them in such a wonderful way and teach them the basics, often for many of these kids, their first job. And so over the past couple of years, it's been hundreds of Narragansett and other local kids who they've provided that opportunity to, teaching them, all the fundamental skills of being a conscientious employee. I think we talk a lot about attracting young families to Narragansett, and Dee and Matt Combs are the poster family for that. They live in the pier. They have a really well-maintained home. Their two boys attend the local schools. They're involved in our community. I just really feel that if we want to attract young families, we need to support them in these business opportunities and to support our local businesses. As the person before me said, this is a very short season and we need to support local businesses, especially in this time. So please approve this. I think it's a wonderful thing for our community.
Thank you, Mrs. Connell. Dan, is there anyone else wishing to speak?
There is Steve.
Welcome, Steve. Please give your name and address and be sworn in by Mr. Davis.
Hi, my name is Steve Clegg. I have a house at 56 Watchia Road in Narragansett. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yes, we can.
Would you please Steve, excuse me.
Yep.
Would you please raise your right hand?
Yes,
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've known the Combs for a while. I've lived in Narragansett pretty much my whole life. The biggest thing about it to me is the owners that live in the area and stay in the area are the ones that care about the area. So the only thing I just like to say is the Combs, they live in Narragansett. The sister lives in South Kingston. She's a teacher. The other brother lives in Narragansett. So they're not going anywhere. So they're concerned about their surroundings. And I think that it would be a great addition to Narragansett, and I think it would help them out a lot. That's all. I just wanted to reiterate that.
Thank you. Anyone else who's going to speak, Mr. Holland?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Mr. Holland?
So far, nobody.
No one. Okay. Would someone, anyone else who has not yet spoken, would they like to wish to make a comment? Anyone else?
Madam President,
Yes.
Pro Tem, I just wanted to note that the council received 2 communications via email, and they have both been forwarded to the council members. One was from Paul Hermensi, and the other is from the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management.
Okay, I did read on DEMs. I have not read Mr. Hernandez's. I see he's on. Does he wish to speak? Okay. No hand up, Mr. Holland?
No hand up.
Okay. All right, so may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Oh,
Mr. Murray, so Mr. Lima first and Mr. Murray second. We'll take a vote. We'll start with Mr. Lima.
Richard Lima, aye.
Mr. Pugh,
Jesse Pugh, aye.
Mr. Murray,
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jill Lawler, aye. Is there any further discussion from the council? Does anybody wish, I know Mr. Lima had made a suggestion to make an addition to the restrictions that the zoning board has put on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm just saying that there were people out there that were kind of concerned. And again, you saw how fast I asked Mr. Combs, and did you see how fast Mr. Combs reacted to, we're willing? That just shows you right there. There's a family business that whatever it takes to be part of the town, the community, and a business atmosphere, and try to get along with everybody and do the right thing, they're willing. There's no question about it. Like Patrick mentioned, you know, here we are in these times when we really need to step up for these small businesses. There's no question about it. It's a short season. They employ all the local, you know, kids of the town and surrounding towns and communities. And they really start them on the right path about how to work, the work ethic and all of that. And boy, if there were more businesses like this, I think we wouldn't have any problems at all in the small business world. So again, I just threw that out there. And like I said, you saw how fast Mr. Combs was willing to say, yeah, if I had to do it, I'd be fine with it. But I think they're fine. They know what they're doing. If they choose to be open till 10 past 10, you're right. There's no restriction on them. So I'll leave that out and leave it up to Mr. Combs and his business on how they operate and wish them a lot of success.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pugh, any further comment?
No amendments or anything like that. You know, I'm glad that this was able to get through today. I know it's been a long, long process for the family. So wish you guys the best of luck with everything.
Thank you. Mr. Murray?
Holmes family, good luck. Have a successful summer. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
I have nothing further for you either. I wish you a lot of success in this business. So may I have a motion to go ahead and before we make the motion to vote, this obviously will be subject to state and local regulations. May I have someone make the motion to vote?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Pugh. Thank you so much. So we'll vote. We'll start with Mr. Lima.
Richard Lima, aye.
Mr. Pugh.
Jesse Pugh, aye.
Mr. Murray.
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jill Lawler, aye. Congratulations.
Thank you
May I
so
just
much, guys.
clarify?
I'm sorry, Ms. Donovan.
May I just clarify that there is no restriction to the closing time or to the hours of service?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Wish you the best.
Thank you. Bye now.
You need a motion to adjourn.
We have
I'll
a
make that motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jesse. We'll start with Mr. Lima. Mr. Lima,
Richard Lima, aye.
Mr. Pugh,
Jesse Pugh, aye.
Mr. Murray,
Murray, aye.
Jill Lawler, aye. Thank you. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.